All right, welcome back. Anton Daniels. Boy, you should not have clicked this video. You might want to close it right now. All right. Anton Daniels, along with all the rest of the immigrants, the disrespectful immigrants, disrespectful non-FBAs, and I do not believe one bit that Anton is a FBA. I believe, it's my personal belief, that you all curse yourselves being disrespectful towards us. That's what I personally believe. Okay, I'm not forcing this belief on to other people or my subscribers, my listeners. I'm not, trying to prompt you to believe it. It's just what I believe. And I say that because I don't believe y'all have the lineage that we have. I don't think y'all are as, to be blunt, y'all are not as rugged. You're not as savage. You're not as gangster as FBAs. You're just not. You're not built like us. You don't have our energy. You don't have our spirit. And y'all weak. Y'all weak. I just put it like that. You got weak spirits. There's nothing strong about y'all's spirit, y'all's energy at all. It's just straight up and down weak. Now listen to this. He uploaded this about 10 days ago. I'll give y'all an example of what I'm talking about.
Talk about Shiloh Hendricks, the woman who called a 5-year-old a racial slur. My first impression after watching the video, a little bit of white trash. I have to be honest, the kid was 5. I have worked with 5-year-olds for the last 15 years. Absolutely everything they do is out of pocket. They're like little unhinged drunk people. Nothing they do makes sense. A 5-year-old is capable of rifling through somebody.
Now let me stop right there. Right there, that's a whole filthy, trashy, inhumane way to talk about 5-year-olds, but let's continue.
Bag and taking things that don't belong to them. Ask any kindergarten teacher. But I realize why so many people are wanting to defend this, because black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior, entitlement, the victimhood, that they want to praise this woman. But what she did is not praiseworthy. But also on the same hand, please remember that every day that us white people get on this app, we get called racial slurs every single day. So if you don't want to be called a racial slur, you also have to stop calling people racial slurs. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. But for the love of God, please leave the children out of it. Adults are stupid. They're going to do stupid things. But you're a different level of stupid when you bring kids into it. Thanks for coming to my
So basically what this woman is saying is that two things can be true at the same time. And I said this the other day when this whole situation first broke out, and then we had the panel on Monday night, where I basically said that white people are starting to get fed up, and that is the whole premise behind black.
Anton and all the rest of you immigrants, we don't give a damn what white people getting fed up with. Y'all do. Because you kiss their ass nonstop. We don't give a damn what they getting. And who are they to be getting fed up with anything anyway? Nobody's been doing nothing to them. Ain't nobody doing nothing to them now. This is an example of what I'm talking about. Y'all little weak asses. Y'all some little weak ass, white ass kissing people, and it's embarrassing. I don't see how y'all can navigate like that.
Fatigue is that nobody wants you to continue to play victim for the rest of your life.
Listen, who are they for us to be concerned about what they want us to be? We don't give a damn about what they want us to be or don't want us to be. You and your ilk do, because y'all kiss they asses. Do you understand that? You probably still don't get that. Like, you got some nerve trying to talk to us like we should be concerned about what they think we should be. What type of old sit-in coon nonsense is that?
Where I basically said that white people are starting to get fed up, and that is the whole premise behind Black Fatigue, is that nobody wants you to continue to play victim for the rest of your life. They tired of being held accountable.
When have we held them accountable, and how do we hold them accountable for
The things that their ancestors did.
Again, how have we done that? What are you talking about? None of us can control what somebody says to them. Ain't nothing we can do if somebody says whatever to them. What are you talking about? How have we held them accountable? Did you hear what he just said? What is you talking about? Type of goofy comment was that? How have we held them accountable?
Nobody wants you to continue to play victim for the rest of your life. They tired of being held accountable for things that their ancestors did. They tired of you blaming all of your failures and the things that you weren't able to accomplish on white people.
Again, who did that? You just straight up lying. That's first of all, you straight up lying. You are not hearing no black people say that every day. And that's what he says.
They're tired of you sitting there saying that you're a victim every single day.
See? You lying. You ain't hearing nobody in the real world say none of this. No black people in the real world say none of this. You looking for it online. Just like them. Y'all weak. Y'all weak. Y'all sit up concerned about what make white people uncomfortable, and you shake and tremble in fear like some coons. That is pathetic. That is straight up and down pathetic. This is this coon mentality, coon psychology. It is dangerous. They can get you to do anything for them.
To being held accountable for things that their ancestors did.
He's saying that we should hold other black people accountable. He said we should hold other black people accountable, but that we are holding white people accountable. How? Demanding reparations, you can't make that argument. That is just a crazy, whacked out, spaced out comment to make that don't make no sense at all. This is nothing but that white supremacist gibberish. And none of it make sense. And it's all fallacious lies. It's their imagination going buck wild. They speak what they feel, not what they see.
Nobody wants you to continue to play victim for the rest of your life. They tired of being held accountable for things that their ancestors did. They tired of you blaming all of your failures and the things that you weren't able to accomplish on white people. They're tired of you sitting there saying that you're a victim every single day, regardless of what your circumstance is, regardless of what you've been given, regardless of all of the affirmative action, regardless.
What have we been given? We ain't been given nothing. Other people have been given stuff. We ain't been given nothing. That's the problem. And you notice how he don't even acknowledge that? Other people have been given money. Other people have been given straight, and still are, being given straight up reparations, money, bags, for nothing. We the only people that they haven't done that with. How is it possible for you to not acknowledge that? You got to be weak beyond comprehension. Because that's just flat out reality. Flat out reality. So your hatred actually for Black Americans got to be intense. That's more of what it is. Your hatred for black Americans is so intense, you refuse to acknowledge something like that that's right in your face. Other people are being given reparations, and of course other people have just been given straight up money and resources. Except black Americans. And we don't even have to get into history. Towns being attacked economically did produce generational poverty, just like they have generational wealth. Boy, this is a deep and dangerous mentality. This ain't nothing to be played with, nothing to be taken lightly. You got to be silly as a black man if you think our only enemy is black women. You got to be plumb out of your mind if you think our only enemy is black women. Our enemy is everywhere. Everywhere. And they're all very dangerous.
So the fact that you're saying that you're the most educated, but really you're the most enrolled.
Right there, that's a comment for black women, not black men. You see how he failed to distinguish that, to point that out. Just as long as it's on black Americans, I guess it's irrelevant. It don't matter. So he don't even have an allegiance or camaraderie with men. You're not even in touch with your masculinity. A woman would have pointed that out. They would have made that distinction, because that's not true about black men. That's literally only true about black women. That statement that you made just there, that they are not the most educated, but the most enrolled. That's something that I pointed out 14 years ago now on my SBW channel. I was one of the first to bring that, to point that out. And you ain't even man enough to point out that, hey, black women, black females. You see? And he ain't the only one to do this. His white supremacist overlords, his white supremacist masters, do the exact same thing. They don't care. They don't care if they're pointing out statistics that only apply to one gender or the other. They're all niggas. This is a black issue. No, Negro. That's the easiest way to identify these foreigners. That's the easiest way to identify. They don't have that grit, the FBAs, especially with the men. They don't have that grit in them. They don't come from the fields. And listen, this is what FBAs don't understand. They can talk about what they did all they want. I don't care what revolution you talking about outside the United States. We did the most gangster thing of anybody ever, because we did it over multiple generations. We set up shop in the middle of these powerful white men that y'all claim had us shaking in our boots and enslaved. No, thousands of communities thrived right in the middle of their camp. And they ain't do nothing. They ain't do nothing. You know how warlike those men had to be? Most of y'all, it's hard to wrap your head around how warlike, how war-minded they'd have to be. Eat and sleep war. They had to be ready for it to be popping at all times. All times. Wasn't no time to rest. They probably slept in shifts. Nobody slept. They never slept all at the same time. I don't know, and to be honest, I don't know what made y'all this weak. Y'all weak though, man. This is weak. You refuse to even acknowledge the truth. All for white acceptance. That's a weak spirit, man. That is whack.
been given, regardless of all of the affirmative action, regardless of the fact that you're saying that you're the most
An affirmative action? You know full well we not the primary people who benefit from affirmative action. Again, wasn't man enough to point that out. That is sick. Let me throw that in there too. You gotta be sick to behave like this. Sick. Everybody know that we and never been the primary people who benefit from affirmative action. This is pathetic, man. Get out of here. These dudes.
So the fact that you're saying that you're the most educated, but really you're the most enrolled. They tired of you blaming your debt on the system. They tired of you saying that white men are the problem. They tired of you asking for programs, and they're tired.
And look how he talking about white people as if they his mommy and daddy. Mommy tired. He tired of you. They getting fed up with you. Ooh, they getting mad with you. They getting fed up. Shut up, Negro. Get your scared, trembling. Oh, Lord. Dude. Wow. Society getting more politically correct. Y'all need to chill out with that. Pump the brakes on that for real. We need to get back to good old-fashioned common sense. This is straight up and down just weak, dude.
Being held accountable for the decisions that you're making every single day.
She'll be watching her back for the rest of her life.
That woman just read this comment up here. She'll be watching her back for the rest of her life. Pay close attention to this. And watch what this fool sits up here and agrees with.
Yeah, because that's not thuggery, hoodrattery, animalistic. This is why people have black fatigue. When you act like this, it's not normal behavior. People do stupid stuff. People say stupid stuff. That's life. It's not normal to threaten to unalive people because you don't like what they're doing. But here...
Was that comment a threat to unalive anyone? The comment said she'll be watching her back for the rest of her life. And it has a laughing emoji. No, that sounds like a comment, just a statement of fact. The whole world saw that video. It makes sense that she would be watching her back for the rest of her life. Probably would avoid black crowds for the rest of her life. And this lady sat here and interpreted that as a personal threat and as one of the reasons for black fatigue. As if this statement is somehow black. Is this a black statement to y'all? This is ridiculous. This is pathetic. How is this a race-related statement? Oh, because it's violent. It's a threat on someone's life. No, it ain't. Goofy. No, it ain't. That is not a threat. What are you talking about? And he sat up there and agreed with her.
Yeah, because that's not thuggery, hoodrattery.
And she called it hood rattery. No, it wasn't. What?
Animalistic.
Animalistic? No, it wasn't. This is just open racism that this lady is putting on display, along with Shiloh. It's just open, blatant, in your face, vile, degenerate racism. And he's sitting up here agreeing with it.
Asking for programs, and they're tired of being held accountable for the decisions that you're making.
Rest of her life. Yeah, because that's not thuggery, hoodrattery, animalistic. This is why people have black fatigue. When you act like this. It's not normal behavior. People do stupid stuff. People say stupid stuff. That's life.
And she's referring to that attack on a child as stupid stuff, saying stupid stuff.
It's not normal to threaten to unalive people because you don't like what they're doing.
You see, he shook his head in agreement. And right before she made that statement, she made an incorrect statement about that being simply a stupid thing to say. That was actually something that lady did. That was CA. That lady carried out CA right there on camera. That was more just saying something stupid. Who in their right mind sits up here and agrees with this babble?
Stuff. That's life. It's not normal to threaten to unalive people because you don't like what they're doing. But here we are. People are getting sick and tired of opening up TikTok and seeing brawls on cruise ships.
Well, stop opening up TikTok looking for them, idiot. That's why they showing up on your feed. Because you looking for them. Just like I can look for white folk fighting. Who am I to sit up and say I got white fatigue as a result of doing that? You're an idiot. And she's also putting on display low IQ. Something that some of them like to brag about all the time. You can't make this up. Just flat in your face, dumb. And these bootlicks agreeing with it, no matter how dumb.
Brawls in the airport, like literally the most.
Brawls in the airport. That stuff ain't just randomly popping up on your feed. And if it is, don't watch it, idiot. Type of nonsense is this? This is an issue of logic and common sense. This whole black fatigue nonsense.
Ghetto behavior. We're tired. We're tired of it. But then whining and complaining and acting like it's not your fault that you act that way. Yeah.
Whining and complaining. Can you be any more vague? She ain't talking about nothing. You still gotta ask her, what are you talking about? Can you explain? Can you elaborate? See, Anton agrees with vague statements and he shares vague statements. He's always vague and tiptoe and around the point. They can't deal with specifics because specifics is the truth. It'll crush them. So they do this type of wordplay. We're tired. We're sick of it. Who are you to be sick of anything? Idiot, you sick of stuff you looking for. Stupid stuff you looking for. And even if it was being put in your face, again, who are you to be tired of anything? Who are we to be worried about what you tired of? Don't nobody give a damn what you tired of, lady. Nobody but Anton and his ilk.
Whining and complaining and acting like it's not your fault that you act that way. Yeah.
And so that comment proved her right. And for whatever reason, y'all think that the white people don't have eyes, that people that are
He agreed with all that. And what he really is excited. He's just excited to see white people being critical of black people and somehow attaching a degenerate behavior to our race. It excites the bootlicks and coons. I mean, you can tell. Because she just sat there and spewed a bunch of nonsense. A whole bunch of nonsense.
not black don't have eyes and they can't see how ghetto a lot of this is. And then I have to pay for it because I got to
How ghetto a lot of what is? The videos y'all looking for online. See, this is what a lot of people out there don't understand. I remember the world before the internet. clearly. It had an effect on me. It shaped the way I look at the world. I graduated high school in 1995. Pre-internet shaped me. And before the internet, you had to go to the ghetto, you had to go to the hood to see hood stuff and to deal with hood people 24/7. If you ain't in a hood, this hood stuff is not an issue for you. That's what it is, people. That's what it is. So, if you in a hood, you a bum. You a flipping bum. And you got a lot more to worry about than TikTok videos that, make you upset. You see what I'm saying? This type of buffoonery is ridiculous. Is ridiculous to grassroots FBA. That's just what it is, man. I'm telling you, man, this is like the opposite. This is like, Anton is like my opposite, dude.
Go outside and then account for what you did.
He said he got to go outside and account for what we did. That means he goes around worried about what white people think about him. Now, we all remember he went around paying white people $1 for a hug. I'm paying for hugs. He give them $1 and for a hug. That go right in line with this mentality right here. You walk around worried about what white people think about you. If that ain't a sucker mentality, yeah, we can't relate with that. See, this is what I'm most proud of being a black American man, is that we ran towards being ourselves when we went to them swamps. And there's a lot of swamp blood in FBA. Because what you dealing with is not Uncle Tom energy. You ain't getting that Sambo energy that you putting on display. Your biggest critics is the real grassroots F, because we got that swamp blood lineage in us. We ran towards being ourselves. We wanted to be ourselves 100%. Not give a damn about where white folks live, what they think about us, what they mad at. Y'all little soft asses, man. Y'all some little soft asses. This is sad, man, to see a black man like this. We supposed to represent strength, man. What is wrong with you? Strength, power, masculinity. You done went beyond femininity with this.
People are tired in general. Black people, I'll just say this first. Let's start with the whole Shiloh, whatever her name is, situation, right? Because I'm not sure that I actually spoke on this outside of the panel. So let me address this. Again, more than one thing can be true at the same time. Was it right that they called the child N-word? Absolutely not. That is already a given. I'm not sure that there's anybody that actually can justify why it would make sense to call a 5-year-old that name. 100%. At the same time, if you're trying to understand why people are supporting this person, it's because they have black fatigue and they're tired of, I'll give you.
No. They supported Shiloh because they are a bunch of racists who got off on seeing blatant, open in your face, vile, degenerate racism and CA on a black child, which made the racist act even worse. Had she had a racist tirade like that against an adult, that would be bad enough. This was against a 5-year-old with autism. And you sit up there like a bootlicking Sambo. You ain't no black man. This is pathetic. And again, this is the easiest way to identify these tethers. I've noticed this is a common trend among these dudes. Y'all weak and soft in this little pathetic like way, man. Worried about what white people thinking. Just kissing ass nonstop. You want a white ass kissing career. Your ass kissing, want to be on your hands and knees day and night, just kissing their asses.
You an example. And please, miss me with all of the bullshit, always getting mad at me for explaining to you why other people may be seeing things a little bit differently because I decided to be objective enough to look at it from somebody else's perspective instead of just looking at it from the black hand side. Don't nobody want to hear that shit no more. And more importantly, nobody cares about what you think because realistically, it's been proven that nobody takes accountability, which means that you'll never have any power.
You see, this is all about hostility towards FBA. That's clear by that statement. That's clear by that statement right there. He just crashed out right there. Did he not? He just crashed out.
Things a little bit differently because I decided to be objective enough to look at it from somebody else's perspective instead of just looking at it from the black hand side.
That it didn't have nothing to do with looking at it from a black side. Everything this woman said was illogical, didn't make no sense. Was insane and sick. Just like Shiloh, who you also is saying, oh, that you just looking at from a black side. You looking at it from a sick, deranged, abusive side. Ugh, this is disgusting. Like, dude, you ain't no, this ain't black masculine. This ain't even masculinity, dude. It's pathetic.
Nobody want to hear that shit no more. And more importantly, nobody cares about what you think because realistically, it's been proven that nobody takes accountability, which means that you'll never have any power to do anything or say anything to anybody. You don't control nothing.
Nobody takes accountability.
You're not going to say anything, and so that's how it plays out.
We don't control anything. You don't either. Like this fool, he act like he part of the white structure. You don't control nothing. What are you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, from where are you speaking, dude?
Means that you'll never have any power to do anything.
See what he said didn't make sense right there. Listen.
Or say anything. Nobody takes because more instead of just looking at it from the black hand side. Don't nobody want to hear that shit no more. And more importantly, nobody cares about what you think because realistically, it's been proven that nobody takes accountability, which means that you'll never have any power to.
So nobody cares what we think because we don't take accountability. How you know? We take accountability all the time. A lot of black people turn their life around. They do dirt. They reflect on it, turn their life around. Whole bunch of them. What you talking about? I'll go as far as say most of them. You ain't never defined what taking accountability is. What's that supposed to look like exactly? If turning your life around ain't it what it's supposed to be, you're goofy. You just regurgitate white talking points. White ass kissing talking points. Don't even make no sense. Don't nobody care about what we think because we don't take accountability. What are you talking about? It's straight up dumb.
Accountability, which means that you'll never have any power to do anything or say anything to anybody. You don't control.
We got power to do and say things to people. What are you saying? We're not influential? Yeah, we are. What are you talking about? You an idiot, dude. Everything you say is dumb. Just like these white supremacists, your overlords that you ass kiss all day and night. Garbage don't even be making no sense, man. Stop it.
Troll nothing. You're not going to say anything. And so that's how it plays out. But the other side of it is that it's a little bit difficult to validate or justify it when everybody that is black then calls everybody that is black the same thing. So I can call people it, but you can't call it. And then we're going to change the definition of a word because we're going to say that we're using it as a term and endearment, but then we're going to not validate it.
Shut up. Shut up. It's just an N-word lecture out of nowhere. That's supposed to justify this act of theirs, this black fatigue. Again, if you ain't in the hood and if you ain't got your face stuffed in rap videos, you don't have to deal with the N-word being said. And if you're in the hood, you're a bum. You got bigger problems on your hand. You need to work on getting out the hood, which shouldn't be that hard. And if you stuck in the hood, that means you're a degenerate who can't get no good paying job and you got a weak garbage work ethic. That's all that means. I ain't been in the hood in decades. I don't even got no degree. Just riding on work ethic and straight up energy. This is y'all weak, man. That's what this is. That's what this is. We gotta stop playing around with these sambos, these tap dancing bootlicks. They up in our homeland, right? Trying to pop off. That ain't gonna work.
Of a word because we're going to say that we're using it as a term and endearment, but then we're going to not validate other people because we know what your intentions are behind it. Yes, we get it that they're having bad intentions as a result of it. But again, it starts to get a little bit old and a little bit tiring trying to hold other people accountable when we don't hold ourselves accountable. I'll give you another example. Every single time that there is a conflict, we always look to see whether it's a white person or a black person. I just recently looked at the press conference at the family of Tyree Nichols, who I can't justifiably say that the cops did everything that they're supposed to do in order to handle that situation right. We know that the cops did it wrong and they handled it wrong when it came to killing that boy Tyree Nichols. I don't believe that the cops was right or wrong. That goes without saying. Anybody that's watched the footage know that he got his ass kicked. Didn't have a gun, didn't have any of these things. Obviously, 2 cops took the charge. It looks like 3 other cops got off. I don't know what I didn't follow the whole case, but I seen they got off. I don't think that they should have been completely not guilty about the whole thing. Of course not. Then they started making about race. And I was wondering to myself, okay, how is this one about race? Because it's all black cops. Oh, nope, gotta go after the mayor. Got to go after the police chief. Got to go after everybody. Even though they got fired, even though all of this.
Hey, shut up. Most of that garbage you just said didn't even make no sense. You don't know how to talk and make sense. Tell a story. You all confusing. All babbling. And once again, you talking about a news report, some article, some isolated incident you done looked up somewhere. Nobody want to hear that garbage, man. You sitting up here whining like a goofy white supremacist. Obsessed with FBA, sitting up looking up videos nonstop. Y'all see what I'm saying? This is some nonsense. This that tether foreign BS, dude. God. He's sitting up here sounding like a whole bunch of stuff. Feminine, goofy, ain't making no sense.
Immediately, everybody, it's a race issue. The Carmelo Anthony.
He talking like white media don't make things about race. Talking like only black Americans make issues about race. And most of the time, when we point out racial things within a story, it's valid. So I don't even know what you're talking. Once again, you're being vague though. See, you're not being specific, right? That's what they do. Just like his little white overlords. These dudes is weak, man. They weak spirits. Weak spirits. We did the most gangster thing in history. I'm telling you. carving out the swamps, and we had thousands of acres, dude. Thousands of people lived there, thousands, communities, dude. Without firearm, that conjured a warrior spirit. When you going through something together, especially as a community, but it can be on an individual level. You conjure up, you develop a new spirit, and it don't ever change unless you encounter another traumatic experience. And just being able to protect your land and being skilled enough to deal with people with firearms. You got to be highly military minded. Only the strong survived out there. And to have a community like that, that's why whites so fascinated by it. And that's where I believe FBA get their strength from. That's where we get our strength from, that extra grit that make these little whiny little weak tethers jealous and mad, because his hate coming from something sparking that hate. These dudes be having this confusing hate just come out of nowhere, just like they white supremacist overlords.
In Austin Metcalf, it wasn't a student versus a student issue. Now it's a black versus white issue. Black Lives Matters, even though it was an organization that robbed people.
Once again, dude, pathetic. Dude, pathetic. Of course, a few FBA gon' ride with Black Lives Matter. It was a well-established organization. Millions was put in it. It was created by white folk, a whole white man, and some Caribbeans. Ain't got nothing to do with black Americans. Few black, of course, they see that, but it ain't had nothing to do with us. And just like white supremacists, he pinning Black Lives Matter onto us. These goofies, they always sound just like they little goofy white supremacist overlords, tap dancing Sambos. Weak.
Proven to be fraudulent, and they bought mansions off of y'all, but we painted the streets Black Lives Matters, and people came after Candace Owens, but now all of a sudden everybody want to wake up and say, you know what, I kind of rock with Candace Owens because she's finally critical of Trump, which she's been objective the whole time. She just didn't agree with y'all politics. But every single thing, we first have to find out, is it a white person? Is it anybody that's not black? Because guess what's going to happen?
You grew up getting your ass whooped. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck. How many FBAs we got in here? You grew up getting your ass whooped. If you were around my age, you grew up getting your ass whooped. I'm 48 years old. I was born 1977. You from Detroit? I'm from Lima, Ohio. Right there on 75, right along with you. Get up right with you. I'm around Toledo right now. I know this area. There's some wild boys up here. Yeah, I know Detroit wild. A lot of them dudes used to come to Lima, handle their business. You grew up, especially in high school, you was getting your ass whooped. Because you exactly the type of dude that dudes would just tear off into. Because every now and then, he'll start popping off at the mouth with this same little garbage coonism, and somebody gonna tee off on him. And you bitter by growing up getting your ass whooped. You bitter about that. That's where this coming from. And we've seen this play out time and time again. These tethers grow up here, and they had these little coon mentalities, grow up getting their ass whooped. And you in Detroit, you was getting your ass toe up. That's what this is, going around paying white folks for a hug. Don't know a real FBA go around looking, doing stuff like that, dude. We don't do stuff like that. We don't have that type of mentality. Something y'all messed up, man. That the idea that they got a colonized minds, that's true. And it's inherited. He grew up in the United States, but he still don't have our mentality. Just like we inherited that grit, that warrior spirit. They inherited that coon spirit, where they ain't even got to come from their island. They still got that energy on them. This is sad, man.
We are not going to hold ourselves accountable in any way, shape, or form. I just seen people justify the big black statue, the big black.
We do very well, especially despite the odds we up against. The country with the most wealth to fashion obstacles against us, with the most scientists and everything, military knowledge and everything. They infiltrated our cultures, made them degenerate so as to make us degenerate. That's a powerful force to be up against. They tricked our youth into celebrating their death and looking at taking lives as a badge of honor. And we still ain't as violent as these other people around the world. So I don't want to hear it. And where you from? Where your people from? Chances are y'all more violent in your homeland. So shut up. I want to hear you and your little coon lectures. Y'all little weak dudes from wherever you from, man. I'm sick of these dudes coming over here with all this smoke for us. Get the hell on back where your country, where you came from, if you got smoke like that. Because if we went to y'all country popping off like this, they find us with our head cut off somewhere. So go on about your business. Shout out to everybody in the building. Man, there's a lot of people in here. See y'all on the next live.